Alright, I made it. Haven't done one of these, but my YouTube channel and all my viewers and everybody kind of deserve it. Basically, haven't done much for videos in the last year. It's been a pretty, well, maybe 6 months or a year. Been a pretty crazy year. A lot of stuff has been going on. Basically, some really exciting stuff, some scary stuff, some not so good stuff, but nonetheless, overall, life is still really awesome, headed in really good directions. Touch base quickly on a few things. Landed a contract to develop a bi-directional battery charger. Pretty cool thing. Partway through the contract, so far delivered all our deliverables, waiting for a payment. Company is now 5 months overdue. That kind of sucks. They did give us a deposit, so they have some money invested in this thing, but we may not finish it. And I basically got a couple people I trust together who've been developing this stuff for a while. We've been working on it as a team. Took on a job at the university helping with the Marine Motorcycle program as a instructor and tool room attendant, which is pretty good, more or less just to get me out of the house a little bit. But I also really love the students. The students who are really dedicated, the good students, make it really worthwhile. It's pretty awesome knowing that I can try and inspire them the way my instructors did like 18 years ago or whatever it was. Try and give them some of the good stories of my life and how I learned from it and how that applies to what I'm trying to teach them. My wife woke up dizzy July 10th. Has been dizzy ever since with really bad vertigo. The first week and a half she was in the ER 3 times. In fact, she was in the ER the 3rd time. A friend gave her a ride there while I went for my job interview for the university, and I thought about skipping out on it, knowing that I would lose that job, but it was a tough call. Decided to take it anyway because my son might need me. We don't know what's going to happen. As things progress, she now feels she's maybe 50% recovered. She was spinning so bad she couldn't even walk at first. I had to like almost carry her, basically hold her and balance her and everything. They've since diagnosed it as multiple sclerosis. She's working on trying to get through that. She's on a really strict diet, trying to get exercise, trying to be healthy. Looks like she will make a full recovery, but she now needs to deal with MS for the rest of her life. So we'll see how that goes. Part of the reason I'm out here today, riding the dirt bike, I need to get out. First month or 2, I was still under contract, thinking we're still getting paid. Got up at 6:30 in the morning, took care of Isaac and her. Isaac luckily went to daycare most of the time, but there was a week where he didn't. After they both went to bed, I would work again till about 1 in the morning and then repeat the process. That was pretty tough for a while, but it's kind of needed to be done. Everything's heading in a good direction overall though. Really happy with what's going on at the university. You have your big time politics like you always do, but the students are good. The other instructors I work with are great. Lots of potential there, even potentially some grant money for developing EV tech. Want to build an electric drag bike. Started developing actually believe I have the basic concept that should more or less be up and running once I can put a little bit of effort into it. My friend Casey got some copper plate and some aluminum to machine the bus bars and the heat sinks for my we'll call it a 1K horsepower inverter. The goal is to run a drag bike with 1,000 horsepower into the motor, see if we can have a motor that's going to be efficient enough. There's good potential with that. I won't go any further on that detail yet because it's going to take a bit. Continuing on other things, finished up a couple of these dirt bikes this year. This is a Zero with a Kawasaki KX250F front end welded to it, rear shock rework, Kawasaki KX250F rear wheel, front forks from the KXF and the wheel from the KXF. It handles and rides really nice. Not quite as good as an Alta. I've ridden a couple Altas. Another thing we did this year, went down to California, checked out the Alta factory. Walked quite a while before, it was in the spring before they quit production. Hopefully they get some money to keep going with that. everything looked like it was going good. We're supposed to get a payment end of September, so I put a deposit on Model 3 Performance. Since then, didn't get the payment we're supposed to get. My wife's always also been sick and not back at work, so we haven't taken delivery. They have $4,300, well, actually $5,300 of our money. They called me today and told me if, given the circumstances, they will give us refunds. Thinking about that. We really want the damn car. Don't know how to get it without that payment though, or other future contract work. Started working with the friends that I put together for the team for the charger development. Those guys are pretty amazing. They invited me over for some other stuff they've been developing that they didn't even tell me about, which is pretty cool. More controller stuff, more charger stuff. Gonna do an open source controller, be clear on that. See what happens with everything else. We've been on a couple other contracts, didn't get them yet, but we have other things that could come up from this. It's only a matter of time. Part of our thing is we need to build a reputation. One of the team members has an amazing reputation with patents and stuff with his name on them and everything. He's done some amazing stuff for fighter jets and all kinds of things. So, you know, with my world record with the CRX, and some of the stuff that the other guys have done, there's 2 guys in Argentina, and they've developed some stuff for the military down there, so really good stuff. I think there's really good potential here. I'm really not stressed about whether or not the 4 of us could succeed with things. It's just frustrating when you get promised the world and a company wants you to actually deliver on something and you keep them, you know, bi-weekly or weekly updates. Actually, I meant 2 updates a week, minimum 1 update a week through the whole process of our development stage, and then they didn't pay. So, and they say they keep saying they're going to. It's not like they got a reason not to pay. I think they're just out of money, but a lot of companies do that. Other things that have happened this year: have a horrible neighbor, started in the spring. I'm going to probably divide this all up into separate, actually it started last winter with a neighbor. I'll divide this all up into separate little video blogs because each one of these topics is quite long, and I'll probably end up editing this one, probably put a couple more pieces in, but I always imagine I'd get out here and try and give everybody an update. CRX had some issues this year. That's a tricky video to put together, and I will put it together. I got to be careful with it because people in the EV world and people involved in the EV world jump all over the problems that I've had, but at the end of the day, it did exactly what I asked it to do, and we'll leave it at that for this video. Looking forward, Christmas is almost here. It's the last day of November. Out dirt biking. It's like 10 degrees out. Some guy's out there in a Jeep. I don't even know where he is because I don't think there's a road over there. But it's all good. Everything's all good. Chantel's sickness is tough to deal with. I think she'll make a full recovery. Had to argue with her or yell at her. Like, it was really tough times. But just told her she needs to fight, because sometimes she doesn't seem to want to fight hard enough. And I'm not saying it's easy going through what she's going through, but that's part of why I'm out here right now. We all need to get out, get fresh air, clear our minds, do what we love. I moved to this damn island like 12 years ago to go dirt biking and ride shifter carts. Moved to a shop that charged more per hour than the shop I was working at in St. Albert. These guys didn't want to pay like just over, they only paid me just over half of what I made in Edmonton, and I kept track of all my hours for the first year. I showed them how much I made them and how I was worth at least 40% of that, and they just argued tooth and nail. Eventually I got the wages up a little bit, and then when the economy crashed, they just didn't know how to run a business when it was busy. Once the economy crashed, they were done. So I ended up working, the whole reason I brought that up in the story is I ended up working sideline work, had no choice, had to take on work at home. Basically 2 weeks after I moved here 12 years ago, a guy with a blown up dwarf car, which is a little mini race car, who became a friend, Jeremy, and went dirt biking with me lots back in the day. I'll probably take him out on the electrics now that I got him going. Called me up, had a blown motor, needed me to help him get it going again. Got it going, won the championship that year. The next year I got a wideband Innovate wideband tuning system. Put both, a couple of dwarf cars I was helping at the time, I put their rear wheels up in there, shifted into 6th gear, put the brake on as hard as I could, and pinned the throttle to get an air fuel sample to see what their fuel reading was at full throttle. Tuned the needles and the main jets. Those guys went out and set track records at both tracks that year. That put me on the map. Basically, that's how it started for me, and had to do all kinds of work to get here. One other thing to add to the story, this last winter, got notice about this time that I was losing the shop. End of February, or start of February, I had to be out of there. So basically moved out of my 3,000 square foot shop into my little 2-car garage at home. That kind of sprung some of the problems up with a neighbor that I didn't really know existed. He was complaining about me parking a car on the side of our property that was towards his house. He thought that was his property apparently, but it wasn't. There's a property stake in the backyard. We've been out there like 5 times measuring with tape measures from our houses, and it's not something I care to do. I actually had to go specifically buy a 30-foot tape measure so I could directly measure from our house. Even though he agrees where the line is every time, he comes back and bitches about it like a month later. There's something mentally wrong with him. And he doesn't look the kind of person that should have mental problems, which is scary because I think it'll get worse as he gets older. He's in his mid to late 30s, I would guess. Something really wrong there. Something to do with, who knows, maybe bad parenting, maybe lack of a dad growing up. I don't know what the hell's going on, but he's got mental problems, I'm sure of it. I even tried to write him a polite letter saying, look, I'm just stuck, lost my shop, need to store stuff in my car tent for a while, but he called bylaw on me. I didn't realize that you're not allowed to have it on the edge of the property, so that's one of those things, but I'll do a whole video on that. I think it's still ongoing. It's been almost a year of this, and so I'll do a video on that. I don't need to waste this one video on that, but losing the shop has made me realize I cut all the gasoline bike repair work out of my life, basically, other than what I helped the students do at the university. And not that I didn't like it, I loved it, but the schedule is really shitty. You're busy as hell during the summer. You'd have to work after work, you'd have to work weekends, you have to do all kinds of work just when you should be having free time to spend with your family or go dirt biking with friends or family or by yourself. Couldn't do it. So I'm happy that stopped, and I think it's opened up my eyes, but at the same time I do need to support myself, and the power electronics development stuff, that's got good potential. It was never meant to be a career path. It's just something I wanted to do as a challenge. Couldn't ask for things to really have turned out any better, in all honesty. The CRX put my name on the map. Some other things I've developed have actually got my reputation out there a little bit as well. Huge potential for stuff in this industry, but I should probably get going. The sun's starting to go down. It's starting to get dark here in the bush, and as I said, I've been climbing over logs and everything, and I don't really know how much I have left. All I have is this little flashlight on the handlebars. Luckily, all I gotta do is get up to that house behind me. Actually, like not even a tenth of the way there. There's a road right up there. I just gotta get to it somehow. So hoping, continuing on this supposed Trans-Canada Trail, I'll be able to get to a road here pretty soon. So I think I'll end the video on that note. I think that covers basically what's been going on this year. I don't want my followers, my viewers, to think that I'm having any sort of big issues. Just been really busy. The charger development that we got hired to do, that sucked up a lot of time, and then Chantal being sick, dealing with moving my shop, all that other stuff, that's eating up some time too. But everything's for the good in the long term, other than Chantal's sickness. Hard to say. She had worked as a manager for many years at Superstore, big Canadian grocery store. They really push the managers. Everybody, there's a going saying in industry, if you want to work for free, put in extra hours and get paid very little for your time, be a manager. And that's the truth in most cases. Basically, they hired her on a salary, which wasn't a bad salary, but it's based on 40 hours a week. And then basically she ends up working like 60 hours a week and has the stress of the world on her shoulders. Get texts from the actual manager of the building, the head manager, at like 4 in the morning on a Sunday when she's supposed to be off. That kind of stuff, that's not cool. So definitely contributed to her sickness. So did the neighbor. Neighbor is definitely a big part of it. He called the bylaw about our pool out back that's been there many years before he even moved into the house next door. And he found that there was a bylaw that shows up as a 2016 bylaw stating that you need a fence around your pool. We had it up since 2011, so tried to argue with the bylaw officer. Unfortunately, when we called the city to see if it was allowed to be there, and they said yes, we didn't get a paper trail. We're learning the hard way. Anything you get permission to do from any government official, get a damn paper trail, get an email trail, get something that you have proof that they said what they said. On that note, I gotta get the hell out of here before I get trapped in the dark or eaten by a cougar or something. Get my helmet on. Maybe I'm harder to shoot that way. I'll see you guys later.